following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. We survived and made it to a Friday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. On the program today, a regular visit with Jeff Him of the Nashville Sounds, a little bit later than normal at 3 o'clock today because we got to squeeze in some hockey talk. Not honky talk. Hockey talk. Easy for me to say. That's why we're bringing in the expert John Glennon, JP Plant, Chris Yao, a whole lot of other stuff. Reaction to the bomb that was dropped yesterday in the world of college sports. Oh, Pac-12, Big Ten, conference realignment adds a whole nother meeting. Plenty of more conversation on that to get to today. Welcome in the Friday edition. And also, before the holiday weekend, Chris, we haven't really mentioned much, if at all, about what's coming down the pipe. The pike? Is it the pike, like a turnpike? Is that?
I think it's pike, but pipe makes more sense to me.
Pipe coming down the pipe?
Pipe with a P.
Water flows down a pipe. Gas.
That's what I'm saying.
Anyway, some big things coming the week of July 11th and the week following that and beyond. Yeah. So just pay attention to the same outlets you follow us as is. We'll let you know all about it, but we got some really cool things coming we're excited about, including, and we've talked about it, George Plaster Show, of course, starting on July 11th, following us daily. So that and so much more. So just be on the lookout. It's just a little seed. I'm dropping some seeds, like Johnny Appleseed here.
Yeah, I mean,
some things grow.
First of all, we should probably tell you that this is the last show until July 11th.
There's that. Well.
We will be off next week to prepare for what is coming down the pike. Mm-hmm. And July 11th, we will still do we will still be on every normal outlet that you have seen us.
Yes. If
you watch us on Twitter, on Facebook, or on YouTube, you'll still be, or on Twitch, you'll still be able to do that.
That's right.
But we will show you how to catch us in the future.
Streamline all that stuff.
Because we're going to streamline it to straight to your TV or your smartphone. It's going to be a fantastic process to make sure we get the easiest way for us to get to you is directly to you.
Absolutely. And kind of a network-wide branding change, if you will, because starting July 11th, we will commence programming on Main Street Media TV.
That's right.
So,
it's going to be
that's
not Main Street TV, because I looked that up last night, and apparently there is an app on Roku that shows 50s and 60s television.
Okay.
Main Street, one word.
Okay.
TV. So we will be Main Street Media TV. But yeah, it's a lot coming, a lot that's going to be happening and going on, and we want to make sure that you don't miss us. So we will do our best to help you figure out where we're going to go and how to get there. But we will also come to you in the traditional ways that you have seen us at least for a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. But again, no show next week.
No show. That's right. So rest up.
Because we are
rest up, folks.
Keeping summer hours, as you and Mo so
that's right.
Eloquently put. Mo's still on vacation and on the boat.
I didn't get his sunglasses today.
It's okay. He's on a boat.
He's on a boat.
At least until he's coming back Monday, I think. So
hope it's a big boat.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Because you don't want those big fishies.
No, you do not want.
I was trying to play in. We're going to need a bigger boat from the Jaws reference. So
we are.
That's where I was coming from on that one. So
do you remember the Taco Bell commercial? I think I need a bigger box. That's one of my favorite commercials.
Taco Bell? Was that
the little Chihuahua, and because they were putting so much food in the those Taco Bell boxes, and he was like, "I think I need a bigger box."
Dogs as mascots for brands have done really well in the past.
That they have.
Maybe we need one for our show.
I mean,
I
yeah,
got a couple to choose from.
I could. You do have some dogs.
Yeah.
We've heard them on the air
That's right. I had to close the door here, so
a few
you won't hear them
times.
today.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
JP, today's opening tip, our top story comes from the world of NBA, the association, as Ja Morant
This is a good
has agreed to a contract with the Grizzlies, a Supermax rookie deal, 5 years, worth up to $231 million, guaranteed 193.
Okay, I could handle that.
But
he deserves it too.
But that goes up to 231 if he makes one of the league's all NBA teams next season.
Okay.
He was a second team all NBA selection this season.
And that would be considered one of the all NBA
Correct.
teams, right? Whether first,
Correct.
second. Do they have a third?
I don't think so.
Just a first and a second?
Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, they need him. Obviously, he's the kind of the face of the franchise. I did also read, surprisingly, that apparently Zion Williamson is also going to sign a Supermax deal.
Now,
despite having only played like 20 games.
Well, that's the only way New Orleans will keep him, would be able to keep him, is to get that Supermax.
I don't know why you would, though. I mean,
I'm not arguing. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Although
it's a lot of money to pay for a guy who may or may not actually play.
I guess you've got nothing to lose on the New Orleans side, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole too much because it's worth talking about Ja Morant. But for New Orleans, just to have him on the roster keeps them somewhat relevant. And
I guess
if he plays, hey, it could be worth it. But yeah, that was their only shot.
And he's the face of their franchise, and you kind of have to keep the face of your franchise intact. Yeah. And in Memphis, getting this done is huge because a lot of folks are kind of curious what they're going to do at not just the guard aspect, but they've got to have, as Teresa Walker and I have talked, they've got to have a veteran voice on that team, and who that's going to be, needs to be somebody that can work with Ja, and that's a relationship you got to know you're going to have.
Mm-hmm.
And getting this deal done now, while there are some veterans out there, it helps you not have to worry about what you're going to do with your star player. You can worry about the role players now for the next 5 years or 6 years, whatever it is.
Yeah, because a player like Ja, these star players that truly deserve the Supermax, there are several out there that don't deserve the Supermax that are getting them, but Ja does. These players are few and far between and very hard to come by. So when you can get one, and especially if it's homegrown, and especially if you're on the brink of taking that next step, which ultimately is playing for a championship, you have to get it done. So, I commend the Grizzlies organization for, not wasting any time getting it done. And you're right, now you know what you've got. So it's a lot easier to find those pieces than it is to find somebody like Ja Morant. So this is a huge thing for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, it is.
And absolutely worth it. He deserves a Supermax. Like I said, there are plenty of NBA players that are getting them that don't. He does.
I agree completely. So, Ja Morant, deal worth up to $231 million, 5-year extension. So I'm not sure how many years are left on his rookie contract. Yeah. Probably 1, maybe 2.
It could be more than that. Yeah,
he could be locked up for the next 6 or 7 years. So looking forward to it.
Here's the window.
Yep.
Every team dreams of a window.
Here's your window.
The Grizzlies have
congratulations.
One.
Yep. All right. Well,
keep it clean and get it going.
Before we get to our first break, JP and John Glennon, why don't you tell us what's going to happen this weekend and tell us what happened yesterday on today's rundown?
This is the rundown.
The Friday Rundown is brought to you by Chip Walters of Exit Realty Bob Lamb and Associates. The voice of the Blue Raiders also wants to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Contact Chip at 615-542-1915 or through his website at choosechip.net. Chip Walters, proud to support local youth sports in southern Middle Tennessee. All right, thank you, Choose Chip. Be sure to choosechip.net. Check it out. All right. Major League Baseball yesterday, the Braves will not tie a franchise record for the best record in a month as they fall to the Phillies last night 14-4. The Pirates over the Brewers 8-7. The Cubs over the Reds 15-7. The Sounds get a win over Indianapolis last night 4-3. We'll talk with Jeff M as we do each and every Friday at 3 today. So take note, 3 o'clock for Jeff M today. WNBA action in overtime. Atlanta over the Liberty 92-81. And Canadian Football League, British Columbia 34-31 over Ottawa yesterday. Weekend schedule, series in Major League Baseball. We've got the Red Sox at Wrigley. That's a spicy little series, and two of the historic franchises. They're in progress on a day game at Wrigley, of course. The Cardinals at the Phillies tonight, Braves at the Reds, Brewers, and Pirates. Those series will continue throughout the weekend. Saturday, by the way, Red Sox-Cubs, that is a night game at Wrigley, which is always fun. And then back to a day game on Sunday. Sounds continue their series with Indianapolis over the weekend. Again, 94.9 ESPN Radio is where you can hear that, and Jeff Him. Soccer, Nashville SC taking on Portland Saturday, tomorrow at 7:30. You can watch that on My TV 30, which I believe is the local home for Nashville SC. WNBA tonight, we've got Los Angeles at Dallas. That's on CBS Sports Network. Las Vegas and Minnesota. Both of those game times at 7. That game on NBA TV. And at 9 o'clock tonight on Facebook, Indiana at Seattle. Saturday at noon, you've got Phoenix and Chicago and Candace Parker. ESPN for that game. And Sunday, Washington at Connecticut, Seattle, Atlanta. New York at Los Angeles, Las Vegas at Minnesota. CFL Saturday evening, Montreal is at Saskatchewan. One of the more fun names to say, Canadian Football League. And the USFL Championship, this is Saturday night.
No, Sunday.
Sunday? It's
Sunday night.
Sunday night. Prime time on Fox, Philadelphia, and Birmingham. They're playing in Canton at the Hall of Fame. So check that out. Birmingham, Chris, or is that your favorite?
I mean,
I know that's who you're rooting for. You think they're going to win?
I mean,
They've been
honestly,
the best team all year, right?
I don't know who. I mean,
who else?
They were 9-1. The other 9-1 team got beat. They beat this team by 14 in week 6. You kind of feel like they're the favorite. I'm curious what the betting line is, though.
Yep.
I haven't seen one, but I'm sure Fox Bet has one.
Yep. All right. There you go. That is your rundown on this Friday, brought to you by ChooseChip.net.
Let's see here. I don't see an opening. 4.5. No, that's last week. I have no idea what the line is. Here we are. Got it. 4.5. Yeah, Stallions. 4.5. Yep.
Right. Go Stallions.
So should be good.
Right them all.
We'll talk to John Glennon right after this on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Y'all stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader-building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Don't forget, coming up around 3 today, we'll be joined by Jeff Him of the Nashville Sounds, our weekly visit on Sounds Baseball series with Indianapolis happening at First Horizon Park. And fireworks tonight, right? Isn't it Friday night fireworks, Chris?
There better be.
Yeah. We'll confirm that with
there
Jeff
may not be, because they are definitely doing them Sunday.
Sunday?
They won't be playing on Monday, but they'll definitely do them on Sunday, I think.
Okay. Aren't they going on the road Monday and playing a Monday game and then taking Tuesday off?
Yes.
They're playing for the holiday?
They are playing on the holiday.
Where they're going?
No, I don't think so.
But I remember Jeff, I don't know, like a month ago talking about that.
Right, because last year they were at home on the 4th, so this year they're on the road, and they're going to alternate that back and forth, and that's to let every team get that on every other year. They will actually be in Columbus with the Clippers.
Okay.
Yep. So they'll definitely have fireworks on the 3rd. They may have fireworks tonight. We'll talk to Jeff Him and find out.
And we'll find out.
We will know. I might get double fireworks this weekend, JP.
Oh boy.
Come
have you
on.
picked up some for yourself already?
No, I don't do fireworks.
You don't do fireworks? So
I'm one of those back 'em up Terry kind of guys.
Okay.
Back up, Terry.
Back up.
Oh,
you're running security.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so,
I'm that way too. Yeah.
I'd
like to keep all my limbs.
Yes, and phalanges. Let's talk a little bit about the Nashville Predators now, as this week has been a whirlwind of a week. And
maybe talking about some fireworks, huh?
Perhaps.
Maybe.
And, at the beginning of this week, JP, we were hearing that the Predators weren't willing to make a very sensible deal. And then yesterday, the news kind of leaks out that maybe there is a deal on the table, very similar to that sensible deal that they were apparently unwilling to make at some point. So I don't know. All I do know is this, is that the latest can be gotten from
we know a guy,
John Glennon, and we have him now on the line. John, welcome in. Thanks for joining us.
Sure. Thanks for having me, guys.
John, what is the latest right now? Are you hearing that this 8-year, 8.5-ish is going to happen?
Personally speaking, I think it will. I'm sticking with my prediction I made back during the season that this would actually transpire at some point. Now, is it a little bit more concerning now that the calendar has hit July and, unrestricted free agency begins on July 13th? Sure. I think there's certainly more concern. But, to me, looking at the circumstances, I think it's something the Predators can do and should do, they've got certainly enough cap money to do a deal with Philip Forsberg. And they're a team that needs probably more offense. So you certainly don't want to subtract a guy like Philip Forsberg, which leaves you scrambling not only, to find extra, but to replace Philip Forsberg as well. So, as you said earlier this week, David Poyle said, the two sides, somebody's going to have to give, before the deadline. My suspicion is that the Predators are going to be the ones that wind up giving a little bit. And I still think this deal is going to get done.
That's good. I mean, that's a solid outlook if you're a Preds fan. Obviously, you want the team to get some value out of the deal, but the fact is that if you don't have Philip Forsberg, the likelihood of you getting the same production out of somebody like Matt Duchene again is highly unlikely, because those two seem to have a really good relationship and chemistry on the ice.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we saw last year that for the most part, it didn't matter, which center was in between Philip Forsberg and Matt Duchene. I think maybe one of the three of us could get out there between those guys, and still Forsberg and Duchene would be racking up serious points. So, yeah, you look at it from that point, and again, right now, you've got that chance to grab Philip Forsberg. Right now, you're only competing against yourself in terms of being able to bring back Philip Forsberg. If you have to go to plan B or plan C, and you're looking for the top free agents, all of a sudden you're competing, with 31 other teams out there, which obviously makes it that much more difficult. When you get to the big market like that, maybe you're going to have to overpay because you're in such competition with other teams as well. So, those again are more reasons I point to the Predators kind of bending maybe a little bit and getting this deal done. I know David Poyle's concern is that he still wants to have enough money left over to be able to shape a team around Philip Forsberg in years to come. But I still, I think the Predators have enough money to do that. And I'm sure there's going to be some concern too, that this will be a third really big contract for your forward, that's going to go well into the future. So at some point, whether that's 3-4 years down the line, assuming this deal gets done, and Forsberg has a down year, well, there are going to be people up in arms saying, why in the world did we have to do another big deal with Philip Forsberg? But it's a tough position for the Predators. I can see those concerns, but right now, as it stands in front of the team right now, I think it's a deal that has to be done.
John Glennon, our guest, SI.com covers Nashville sports and more for them, and following, of course, this Forsberg story with the Nashville Predators. And, John, I'm curious your take from the organization standpoint. Of course, the news of Bill Haslam eventually becoming the majority owner or lead owner, or however they want to phrase that, but the stability of this organization from management and ownership, this is probably a big deal perception-wise, at least to the fans, of whether or not, we're almost kind of like a fork in the road with this deal, it feels like.
Yeah, I think this it's a good thing in general. I think any time that you can get an owner with heavy local ties and deep pockets, and we know that's the case in both departments for Bill Haslam. I think that's a good thing, and I think the fact that Herb Fritz, who's currently kind of the head of this current ownership group, sought out Bill Haslam, several months ago, and we know how much this current ownership group, what they did to keep this franchise here in Nashville and how all important that was. So, for them to seek out Bill Haslam, I think is an excellent sign. And I think it's going to be interesting too, as you mentioned, it's going to be a transition situation where Bill Haslam isn't already, the man in charge, but will gradually become that guy. But certainly, I think when he is going to be eventually the main man, he will factor in considerably, over the next few years in terms of decision making. So, but yeah, I think in general, as opposed to, I think, most of us all remember, over a decade ago when it looked like the Predators might be headed elsewhere, that potential ownership change appeared to be certain a disaster, and this appears to be far from that situation.
The Chrissy's saying it could be worse. Remember back, it was worse.
Yeah.
Has
it
been
was
worse
far
before.
Worse. It looked like the phrase "thin ice" was used more than once in that situation.
Yeah, we were talking with George Plaster about this not too long ago, and obviously he was one of the most vocal voices in that, and I thought it was interesting because he said, "Look, I won't be leading any rallies this time around," and that's always a good thing to hear. John,
exactly.
When you look at this Predators organization as a whole, a lot of folks talk about we just mentioned it in our open about the Memphis Grizzlies have a championship window now with John Moran, et cetera, and signing him to a Supermax deal. Obviously, the Predators had a window a couple of years ago. Do you feel like that this team, if they are able to sign Philip Forsberg and with the cap space they have, do you feel like they have an opportunity to potentially reopen that window that they had a couple of years ago?
Yeah, you look at the talent now, and clearly, it's a team that needs more. We saw that in the first round of the playoffs when they were swept by the Avalanche. Doesn't look nearly as bad now that the Avalanche are skating around with the Stanley Cup and kind of rolled through the playoffs for the most part. But nonetheless, I think this team has some additions to make. They need to bring back Philip Forsberg, in my opinion. They need another, potentially top six forward and potentially another very good defenseman as well. But, when you look at some of the core players, it's not as if these guys are on their last legs either. The guys like Roman Josi, obviously Duchesne, obviously Ryan Johansson, Mikael Granlund, all those guys, I still think that they are, sort of in their very productive years. Matthias Ekholm, you can add to that group as well. So I think if the right additions are made, and then you see, some of the younger guys maybe taking even more significant steps up, a guy like a Philip Tomasino, a first-round pick who showed us good things last year as a goal scorer, should take another step up. And you look at a guy like a Tanner Jeannot, who I think it should get a real legitimate chance at playing as a top six forward next year after scoring 24 goals, in kind of a top nine role. I think if you can get some more steps up there, I think you're a team that can certainly get right back in the playoffs and maybe not be considered certainly in the elite right away, but still with, again, anytime you're in the playoffs, you have a decent chance of making some noise anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, Jeannot didn't lose many fights last year either. So anytime we can have a guy like him, I'm all for it.
Oh, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's, that kind of player is an entertaining aspect of the game too, I think, for fans, and certainly that was the Predators' identity, not just the fighting, which they did a good bit of, but, playing physically as well was part of their identity. And I think that, that resonated well with the fan base.
John, before we let you go, we were talking fireworks at the beginning of this segment. Of course, the 4th of July coming up. And Chris stated that he's a backup Terry kind of guy. Are you one that likes to light the fuse, or are you one that likes a little crowd control when it comes to fireworks?
Given my track record of making mistakes and, lacking savvy in practical matters from time to time, I am the guy that's far away from that fuse as possible. Given the option, I'm probably better off sitting in front of a television watching the fireworks than I am of being within half a mile of where they're being shot off. So yes, I am far more in that category than the fuse lighter.
Enjoy it from afar. I like it, John. We appreciate it, buddy.
Okay, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
John Glennon, SI.com, and NHL.
Oh, man.
So, it's interesting that that we talk about fireworks because, obviously July 4th and I guess the America holidays always tend to lend themselves to the cooking for me more than the fireworks.
Oh, it's a cooking holiday. Yeah, I'm okay. I went to I think I had some relatives that blew some fireworks. I don't know, a couple of years ago. They had just installed a pool in their backyard, and so they had family over. And that was kind of cool to be there. And I was the one that was trying to stay back as much as possible, but I try to be the responsible one.
On occasion.
On occasion.
On this show, you have to be, though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Somebody's got to drive this bus.
Yeah, the irresponsibility on this show is not lacking in any way.
I need these things to run this show. So,
I hear you.
No voice activation here.
No. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more talk about USC, UCLA, the impact it's going to have not only in football, but the Olympic sports. That's where it's really going to see a big impact. So you guys stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
And we're back, Main Street Sports Today on this Friday, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. I had to think about that, Chris, for a second. So it's
I did not. I know exactly what that is.
Not being in the office on a daily basis this week is it throws your equilibrium off on things of that nature. But it is it's a holiday weekend.
I only know because my deadline has moved up to today.
Yeah, so. It's staring you in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the print deadline for Main Street Murray is like, hey, you got 3 stories you still got to write, bro. Like, get on it.
Oh, man. Yeah, it is Independence Day coming up on Monday. Of course, we'll be off Monday for the holiday. And a reminder, we will be off all next week as we are preparing for some new things coming down the pike or pipe, whichever method of transportation you choose to use. And Main Street Media TV will be launching on Monday, July 11th. The George Plaster Show will be featured there at 4 o'clock. And then we'll be spattering some current and new programming throughout the week. And then we've got a really cool thing happening the following week, Chris, where we're going to be on location at a very cool event.
That's right. Can't wait for that as we go on the road. The Main Street Sports Today Road Show, along with along with George Plaster, not Joe Plaster, along with George Plaster. The George Plaster Show Road Show will also be on location as we will have a special edition of Main Street Sports Today throughout the week, Monday through Thursday, 2 hours each day, taking you right up to Georgia's show, live from the College Football Hall of Fame and Omni Atlanta and SEC Media Days, folks.
Yes, sir.
So how about that?
Absolutely. I guess a 3-dinger.
That's a 3-dinger.
Right there. That's a 3-dinger.
Also want to say congratulations to our colleagues across Main Street Media who recently received notification that newspapers across the company received 73 top 5 designations in the TPA 2021 Press Awards. That's a new record for the company.
Hey.
42 of those 73 are in the top 3, which means several of those could be winners. The winners have not been announced yet, but 42 potential winners across Main Street in the TPA, Tennessee Press Association Awards. So congratulations to those folks, and looking forward to see if they can pull out some wins.
There you go. That's a lot of cool things are happening in the company, and of course the Main Street Media TV started July 11th. This is one of those big things, and but a lot of other stuff happening. So we're looking forward to that. Absolutely.
Yes, no doubt. JP, real quick, as realignment continues, when Oklahoma and Texas moved to the SEC, and now USC-UCLA to the big whatever, Big 16, I guess. What would be the equivalent on the high school level of that?
Oh, man. I don't know if there is an equivalent. I mean, you talk referring to, maybe moving conferences or districts or what?
Well, like regions, like say, what if you put like Oakland and Maryville in Region 7-6A with the with Williamson County?
Yeah, I mean you're right. I mean, joining somebody that's an outlier like a Maryville, geographically speaking,
geographically,
like USC and UCLA. Yeah, I think that's a good analogy. Joining not only the Rutherford County schools, but then you pair that with the Williamson County schools for one super district or conference. I mean that's probably a high school equivalent. I think that's a great analogy.
I just wonder, like, what would bring that splash? That would certainly be a splash.
That would be a splash. I can't imagine it getting any bigger at that level. I mean, Alcoa joining anybody would be big.
If Alcoa and Maryville, joined the Williamson County Conference, that would be about what it would be like. Because obviously with travel and that sort of thing, it is wild though to think about. And today is the day that Conference USA officially welcomes in those 4 teams, I believe. New Mexico State, obviously Jacksonville State, Liberty, and who else? Sam Houston.
Okay.
So that's a big day.
It's a lot of movements. Of course, and well documented here on the show, Conference USA losing a ton. So
It is kind of interesting though that with our MTSU connections with Chip and Mo, and they lose UAB, but then gain Jacksonville State. It's like they can't get rid of me.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of great analogies for what you are to us True Blue Raiders, Middle Tennessee Staters. But that's part of the fun, generating new rivalries. I think Jacksonville State has a potential to kind of slide into that spot that UAB has held over the last couple of years, and the proximity of that, and they're obviously vying for a lot of the same recruits. Doing some regional recruiting. So I think it's a great analogy, and the importance, and you've documented this so often, the importance of sports at Jacksonville State. I mean, they, to take the SEC, it means somewhat.
It does mean
a lot.
More.
It means a lot to them, and they are all in, have always been all in on their sports, no matter where they go. So they're going to be competitive. We talk about it like with Summertown in high school, and maybe Loretto and some of these smaller. It doesn't matter where they go, what sports they're in. If they're going to do it, they're going to be competitive. Some places just have that culture, and Jacksonville State has it.
And Jacksonville State has put the financial backing behind this not just this move, but before this move. I mean, before they moved the A-Sun, they built basically a new baseball stadium. They kept the field and put everything, built a brand new facility around it. The softball stadium is incredibly nice with chair back seats all the way from, dugout to dugout. And the basketball arena just got an upgrade. Then it got hit by a tornado, so it got even more upgrades.
Yeah.
And then the football stadium is adding another 15,000 seats.
Wow.
So this is a huge deal. And anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about, but I did want to mention that today is the day that they join Conference USA, so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
What we do want to talk about is the impact of Southern Cal and UCLA, and how does conference realignment in this sense work for Olympic sports?
Well, it's a great question, and obviously the financial strains that it's going to cause for those non-revenue generating sports. I think part of the flip side to that, to rationalize it a bit, is that as these, quote, super conferences, or however you want to identify them, as they grow, what else is going to grow with that? That's going to be the TV contracts. So there's
I'm
going to
not
be
necessarily
even more...
worried about the money side of it, though. I'm worried about the mental aspect of having to travel
cross country for a volleyball game.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point, but I mean these major colleges in all sports are already traveling via airplane to go to even some in-conference events, or traveling to tournaments across country. So I don't think it's gonna, I don't think it's gonna be that big of a change mentally, as you may reference there from the athlete standpoint. I don't know the inner workings of how these athletes actually are also academic in nature and how they get all that done, because these sports, no matter what sport you're playing, whether it's revenue generating football or basketball or non-revenue generating, they're full-time jobs to compete at those highest levels at Division I NCAA athletics. So the academic side of things, that's where the strains could be a little more, but I mean they're already dealing with that to some degree, I think. So I don't know if it's going to be that big of a change. And maybe they get more creative, Chris, with how they schedule in conference and do for some of these other sports, kind of have, play more of the teams around you, and then just worry about, getting to a tournament, perhaps. I don't know.
Well, and so here's the thing. You know how the TSSAA doesn't care, just send us 4 teams?
Yeah, when they get to the region?
When you get to basketball and baseball, we don't care how you get there. Just send us 4 teams to the regionals. We don't care.
Yep.
I think that's what's going to end up happening here.
Okay.
It's like, Matt Brown from Extra Points, who we had on the show yesterday.
Yep.
Some, low major conferences, not the mid majors, but there are some like, I don't know, say the Colonial, for example. They've
Okay.
just completely ditched mandatory conference play and just meet up for a conference tournament.
Are they playing each other at all, or just not under the guidelines of a conference schedule?
Right.
Traditional. Yeah.
They're just completely saying, you don't have to play conference opponents. If you want to, feel free.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
There's no mandated regular season conference schedule.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a terrible idea in this
I don't either.
situation.
And that's, I guess kind of in a roundabout way, that's what I was somewhat referring to with getting creative on the scheduling within the conference. Maybe that is the case, that, you try as best you can to schedule those teams that are around you within the conference, but, go play who you can play and then settle it all at a conference tournament.
It's not a terrible idea.
No. And, it only bolsters the value of that conference tournament. You start to
100%.
play some teams that you don't see in the regular season, which I think is not a bad thing.
I'm all for it. I think that's a fantastic way to go. Now, John Canzano, who is a Oregon radio personality, said he was told by someone within UCLA or USC that they were given assurances from the Big Ten that it would work with them on creative thinking, scheduling wise.
Okay.
So my guess is, do you have the soccer team and the softball team travel to the same places all at once and, play 2 or 3 teams, play Rutgers, Penn State, and Maryland all in 1 week, and then come
like
back?
a long weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
Like
whatever.
Thursday, Saturday, Monday schedule. You go on a road trip and hit 3 conference opponents. Yeah, I mean that would make some sense. I mean, we talked with Chip Walters in Conference USA and kind of how they have done some scheduling, at least from the basketball perspective, where they had the men and women play the same opponent the same weekend, just alternating
at opposite
places. And that was, of course, I think a COVID generated reasoning, but it does kind of open up the idea to more of that in a general sense, especially when you're talking like USC and UCLA. I mean, any road game is like traveling to Europe.
It basically is.
Yeah,
that's what's crazy about it. I mean, it's the real question here is, it's not just UCLA and USC that's impacted here. It's Rutgers.
Oh, it's
Maryland.
The whole conference. It's the whole conference. I mean, there's no question.
It's Northwestern.
Yeah.
I don't know. It certainly bears watching as to how creative they can possibly get in this situation. I don't see it. I think you're better off in the Olympic sports just completely foregoing conference schedules.
In the traditional sense, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any reason. And they've already laid the groundwork a little bit for that, and I think they'll make that happen.
Or potentially just, decreasing the number of games you play to 10 or 8 or whatever. These 8
in conference.
Yeah, these
conference
8
play?
are your conference. Yeah, these are your conference games, whatever.
Yeah.
Also,
They'll figure it out.
Across the in other college sports news, the Division I Board of Directors denied waiver requests for schools transitioning to Division I to participate in NCAA championship events before reclassification is complete, which is the Bellarmine rule.
Okay.
Apparently, they reviewed and denied it because apparently they're idiots. But hey, we weren't surprised that the NCAA would be idiots about this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like
anyway.
some other entities, I'll just keep that to myself at the moment. So yeah.
There you go. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll talk about the Braves on the other side. Big weekend ahead in Cincinnati. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joints. Back after this. This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl, Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice.
Second half action here, Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Jeff Him is on deck, coming up in just a little bit. Talk a little Nashville Sounds baseball. Also, we'll look ahead to the weekend and the holiday weekend, which means looking ahead to Monday as well. And next week and what's to come, Braves chatter and more as we welcome you back in. JP and Chris hanging out with you, Mo, on an awards honeymoon after receiving a very prestigious honor Monday night over in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So he and the rest of us will all be back together July 11th. Looking forward to it. Got some cool things coming, so be on the lookout along all of these same applications, if you will. So wherever you're seeing us or finding out about us, trust us. The information that you need will be there as well. So we'll keep you in the loop on this fluid situation.
Yes, there you go.
In there.
Just real quick, Wes Blankenship, who was on our show a while back, said the SEC and Big Ten have already outgrown the Southeast and their, respective geography.
Okay. Yeah.
Their mega conference names will definitely need to be rebranded. What would you name the SEC and the Big based on their reputations?
It's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I think they've long kind of not necessarily been tied to those geographical restraints. I mean, the SEC has its own brand, I think, with those 3 letters now. I mean, it's an acronym for Southeastern Conference, and depending on how you draw geography, it's still, within a southeastern quadrant of the United States. I mean, it still has that. If you were to like cut the U.S.
for now,
if you were to cut it into 4, even with Texas and Oklahoma.
No, for now, we don't know where they're going after this.
But I think the SEC, I think that brand can still hold true. I don't think they would have to change that. Like I said, you just don't necessarily refer it to the Southeastern Conference. It's just the SEC. I don't know. Sports.
I have an answer.
With the conference. I don't know. Yeah,
I have an answer.
The big, and I think the Big Ten's kind of in the same realm because of how they've done their logo with the 1 and the. I don't know what it is.
It's a G, but now they're just going to go right across there, and it's just going to be a 6. They take the G all the way across, and it's a big 6.
And I think the G, because the I is a 1.
Right.
So, I mean, they've kind of outgrown that, too, the Big Ten. I don't know. But it's a fun exercise. So what's your answer? You obviously have something. So what is it?
The answer from L. Bennett.
Yep.
The Coke Conference, the Pop Conference.
The Coke Conference and the Pop Conference. Okay. I get the reference.
I feel like that's perfect, right?
Coke and the Pop. Okay. What do you want to drink? I want a Coke. What flavor of Coke?
Exactly. What kind of Coke do you want? Bring me a Sprite. The hell did you just say?
Yeah, that's right. I need a pop. What kind of pop?
That's anyway.
Atlanta Braves. That yellow stuff.
There you go. The Atlanta Braves tonight in Cincinnati going to eat some chili and hopefully spit out the Reds.
Well done, yeah.
Because obviously last night just needs to go elsewhere.
Speaking of chili, before we get actually into the Braves, Skyline, you've done that, right? You've had the Skyline chili? And your thoughts?
I've only had it once.
Did you have it at the ballpark?
No.
Okay. And I'm getting the sense that you're only going to ever have it once.
That's correct.
Okay. Enough said. I don't need details.
Look, there's no detail. I just didn't like it.
Okay.
It wasn't for me.
It's
like In-N-Out. I'm not a big fan of In-N-Out.
It can be overdone. It's,
Well, I think there are some things like Milo's in Birmingham, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I grew up on Milo's, but somebody who goes to Milo's for the first time is probably going to be like, this is weird. I don't love this. But me, I love it because I grew up on it. And you like things that you grew up on.
Well, and also things that you can't get everywhere too.
That's true.
Because I know every time Jody and I head south to the beach, we are stopping either on the way down or on the way back. Without question, the first place that we have to make sure we get is a Milo's.
Because everybody goes to Milo's.
Mm-hmm.
That's their jingle. Okay. It's actually everybody goes to. That's the actual jingle. Everybody goes to Milo's. How about the pride of Chapel Hill on the bump tonight for the Cincinnati Reds? Mike Minor comes in and boy, he's struggling. And that's unfortunate. 1-4 on the year, 7.71 ERA after his rehab stint down in Louisville. Hasn't had a great start to his 2022. Obviously, the Reds just looking for somebody to eat innings at this point. Still 26-49 on the season, not having a great year.
Not Skyline chili.
Yeah. And he gets the honor of going against Max Fried tonight. So Maximus, who has been just sensational for the Braves all season long, outside of his opening day loss to the Reds. Go figure. Tonight, Minor will have to face off the return of the National League's top vote getter in All-Star voting, Ronald Acuna Jr.
Oh, he moved up to number one, huh? Yeah, National League. That's right. Only behind Aaron Judge in all of baseball, right?
So what they did was the phase one voting was the top vote getter was an automatic starter no matter what.
Okay.
So and now phase two takes you to the finalists where you then vote on. I think it's 5 from each position or whatever. Maybe
how long have
8
they been doing it this way?
I think this is the first year.
Because I would say this is new now. Like I said, I can't remember the last time. I think the last time I voted for All-Star was the last time I was at a Major League game because they hand out.
Oh, because they handed the ballot out. Yeah, the punch cards. Gosh, that's been a while.
Yeah, so a few hanging chads on that.
Probably.
Or hanging Ronald Acuna's. I don't know.
But Ronnie will hit leadoff Swanson in the 2-hole with Olsen, Riley, and Darno. Ozuna, Duvall, Arcia, and then Michael Harris the second rounds out the lineup. It's a really tough lineup, to be honest with you. I mean, I would hate to have to face this lineup. There's no doubt there. And the Braves get the Reds all weekend long. Really another chance to start off this month as well as you did. And, you kind of hope that you don't have to worry about the hangover from the World Series. You've gotten that out of the way. Just take care of business on the road if you are the Braves.
Yeah, I'm curious, Swanson in that 2-hole, do you think he's cemented himself at the top of the lineup as opposed to, I mean, he's a dangerous 9-hole hitter, but you think this is where he's going to be unless he just hits an uber slump?
Probably. And this is classic Dansby Swanson. It's what he does. He starts off slow and eventually he turns into the hitter that we all know he can be. Yeah. So that's worked out really well. It's kind of this is the start of the home stretch. You really, if you are the Braves, you feel like you've got to take advantage again. They did so in the month of June. We said it all month. You still got Cincinnati, St. Louis, who's not very good, and the Nationals before you even touch the Mets again on July 11th. They get the Mets at home after splitting that series up in New York to start the season. And then you got the Nationals again. So another start to this. There is no reason that the Atlanta Braves shouldn't be, 12, 13 wins in these next 17 games.
Yeah, I think a reasonable expectation before that Mets series is to be within striking distance, meaning you win that series and you could take over first place by that head-to-head competition. I think if the Braves can get to that by that point, and based on the schedule you just mentioned, I think is a very reasonable expectations for sure.
Yep, 3.5 games out of first place right now are the Braves after last night's loss. This day in Braves history is not a good one. It's the only thing that there was out there. So I guess we'll just keep talking about this forever unless something major happens today.
And we can make something happen today. Yeah, absolutely.
The Marlins set a franchise mark for runs scored and tied a team record with 25 hits. Miguel Cabrera, Ivan Rodriguez, Luis Castillo all had 4 hits each, and Florida beat the Braves 20-1. But the celebration was marred when a photographer had to be airlifted to a hospital due to an injury caused by Darren Bragg's bat flying into the stands. That happened in 2003. Of course, it did with Miggy, Pudge, and you knew that it had to be early because Miguel Cabrera is a Marlin before, of course, I'm sure they traded him for, a bag of baseballs and a pack of peanuts because that's what the Marlins do.
Marlins
anyway,
Marlins.
That's right. Take a quick break. Jeff Him, more baseball. On the other side, stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Back here on this Friday edition, alongside JP Plant, Sans Mo Patton, who is out on the ocean somewhere enjoying life, probably enjoying a beverage next to the pool with somebody wearing socks.
Of course. I mean, there's always somebody that wears socks on these types of voyages, right?
I wouldn't blame them. I mean, who wants to walk around barefoot on that thing? Who knows where it's been?
That's a good point. I mean, you could have some flip-flops, but yeah, some people need to protect the feet. the particular limbs. So
I hear you, because they like their limbs and phalanges too.
they do. They do.
It's
FYI, before you go, Jeff has dropped off for just a moment, so we'll fill until I see him come back in. So just wanted to let you know. I didn't know if you could see that or not.
I cannot. The Ohio Valley Conference has some new members today too. By the way, Lindenwood, Little Rock, and Southern Indiana join OVC after Austin P went to the A-Sun. Obviously, Belmont and Murray State off to the Valley.
The Valley. Right.
And the OVC put out a little graphic with each team's logo. And, it's interesting because Tennessee obviously still has 3 teams, Martin Tech and Tennessee State, and joining the new members of the conference. And I'm looking at these logos, man, and it's certainly interesting when you look at small college logos.
Yeah.
And how unique most of them are.
Mm-hmm.
Because typically, like Alabama, they have an A. Woohoo. Right. You know what I mean?
Well,
but
yeah.
like you kind of, for branding and for people to care about, buying your products, you have to have something really cool. And, Tennessee Martin, the Skyhawk, is with the goggles, the pilot goggles on top of oh my gosh, are you kidding me? It's phenomenal.
You can handle that.
So yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I'm a big fan of small college logos. I look at them all the time. But
and minor league baseball logos too, like our Nashville Sounds, and you see Jeff Him there. We're gonna try as we think he's stable enough. But I've always loved that, and he's got it on his shirt there. The home plate with the TriStars. Of course, Chris.
Yeah.
And Jeff, maybe as long as he's been on here, the TriStars. If I were to get a tattoo, the TriStar, Jeff, would be the first thing that I get. For some reason, I have this this passion for that logo. I don't know why. Jeff, you got a TriStar tattoo?
I don't think Jeff has a TriStar tattoo
either.
I'm gonna hope not.
All right, I tell you what. Let me take him out. We'll give him a call, Chris, if you want to talk amongst yourself for just a moment, and I'll see if I can get him via the telephonic method.
That's fine. As we look around the world of college football and more, JP, it's interesting that obviously the next domino that falls will be those potentially falls if some other conference gets rated. Will be the D2s and that sort of thing. And Matt Brown says that he's not sure what that might look like, but these Conference USA, OVC graphics may not be accurate for very long. So get a look at them while you can, apparently, is what Matt Brown says. Although he did say, look, we don't know. Nobody knows. The ADs don't even know right now. They didn't see this coming. Nobody saw this coming.
That's right.
So you just kind of got to go with what you got.
Yep.
So anyway.
All right. I've got Jeff on the phone. So if
gotcha.
Jeff, it's a shame because I had such a fun lead into you because we were talking about logos. Chris was, and I said, speaking of logos, minor league baseball has quite a few, including the TriStar on the home plate. And I was talking about, Jeff, that if I ever get a tattoo, it would be the TriStar. And I was just curious if you have a TriStar tattau, Jeff.
I do not have a TriStar tattoo.
I was not expecting that question.
You guys, as always. No, I don't know what was going on with the technology there because I could hear you guys.
Okay.
And it's always great when everything works fine until about 30 seconds before you really need it to work fine, and then it stops working fine. That's what I just experienced in the last 2 minutes. So apologies for that.
You're all good.
I love the TriStar home plate logo. It's gotten rave reviews by our fans these last couple of years since it came out in 2019. And, the alternate logo And then also, you know, a lot of fans, we did it last night on a Throwback Thursday. There was a portion of the fan base that would love the Throwback Thursday look and logo to be our full-time logo, which obviously is not the case, and there's a reason it's called a throwback. But a few different uniforms we wear, and our fan base feels very strongly about all of them, which is great.
You know, that's interesting because I love that old Sounds logo, the red, white, and blue, and it's a really classic look. But the look that the Sounds have now is one also classic, but kind of that it has a modern feel to it. And I love the N that kind of looks like the Boston B and that sort of thing. And I know that was probably something that happened when they were with Texas and wanted to use the little, I guess, barbs, for lack of a better term, on the end. But it's
Speaking of tattoos.
Yeah, but the home plate and the TriStar, man, they knocked it out of the absolute ballpark by, you know, obviously you can give me a ding for that. Come on, I didn't even mean to do that.
I'll give you one.
You can knock it out. They knocked it out of the ballpark when they created that logo. So I'm all for it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it is incorporated more and more, because I know that fans absolutely love it. The Nash uniforms with the 6 strings on the shoulder and the TriStar cap is always cool, Jeff.
Yeah, and what's funny, you mentioned the Rangers, the rebranding and some of those logos were already in the works when the affiliation change happened after 18 and into 19. So they were really unrelated. There's nothing about our current, even though there's some similarities, like you mentioned, to the Rangers and the colors and all that. It was in the works before that affiliation happened. So it lived on well. It's not really connected to Texas. That was more coincidence as things turned out back then. But I think a lot of the reason why people like, in this case, the TriStar home plate logo is because I think any baseball fan who lives in Middle Tennessee can like that. Now, we obviously want them to be a Sounds fan, and most of the people wearing them are a Sounds fan in some way, shape, or form. But it's, hey, I live in Middle Tennessee. It's got the 3 Tennessee Stars. I know that look. And I'm a baseball fan, and it's got home plate on it. So as a Middle Tennessee baseball fan, you can find a reason to want to wear it, whether you're a diehard Sounds fan or not. That's probably part of the popularity, in the same way that, you know, the N logo stands as much for Nashville in some people's eyes as Nashville Sounds. And we tried to play off of that and kind of blend the two together. Hey, you live in Nashville, you like the Sounds, well, then our logo and our marks and some of the branding is perfect for you, regardless of the volume of games you might attend every year. So I think that's part of the reason it's been so well received, because most baseball fans can find a reason to want to connect to the logos.
Jeff, I want to kind of, sorry, Chris, to interrupt, but I want to kind of continue on this logo discussion, because it's going down a path that interests me in terms of, you know, the marketing and branding wing of these organizations, at least at the minor league level. I would imagine has a lot more, maybe some freedom to try some things. And, you know, because the major league level, it's all about the team itself and the wins. And yes, there's that marketing and branding, but I think marketing and branding may mean more at the minor league level. Am I somewhat close to accurate on that assessment?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I think one of the reasons our rebrand went over so well a few years ago and continues to do well is because while people know we are a minor league franchise, I think there's a huge percentage of people who, I think, Chris, you used the word earlier, you used the word classic when comparing it to like the Red Sox B and things like that. There's a classic look, a clean, very professional, kind of big league style look to these logos. I personally love that. I mean, I've covered minor league baseball for a long time. I know some people love the wackiness of it and the goofiness of it, which is fine in my opinion on certain promotions. This is just me personally speaking. I don't love it for hey, let's come up with the weirdest team name we can come up with. you want to talk promotions or, one night we're going to play as this team or something like that, that's great. But I think some teams try to go wacky and weird and just odd color
You don't
schemes
love trash pandas? What's up?
I'm not going to name names, Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, but I just don't. Personally, I like the clean look, and I think I understand why teams go the way they do, and it probably helps sell merchandise and it gets some headlines in the short term. But over the long term, I think what wears well, literally and figuratively, is something like what the Sounds have done. I mean, we just saw Gwinnett. I personally don't really love kind of the neon green look, but I know it does well for them, and they didn't. They don't need to care what I think. I just personally, it's flashy for me does not always mean preferred. But again, in the minor league world, to your original point, JP, you see all kinds of looks under the minor league umbrella, and to each their own as far as what they're going with. But I like to wear the Sounds logos. In addition to being proud of the team I work for, I'm proud of literally the way everything looks, and I think it's a good, clean look, and that's just where my personal tastes tend to go.
Chris, he gets a double play ding on the wear it well. Well done, Jeff Him.
Yeah, when I was a freshman in college, the Montgomery biscuits were all the rage, and they still are, because hey, the one thing about biscuits is you can always sell them at the ball games, and that's always going to be unique. Nobody else is bringing biscuits to the ball game. So I'm just saying, but yeah, in the next, kind of like Birmingham, the Birmingham Barons, they've got that classic old English look. And I agree, Jeff, I'm with you 100%. I love the seriousness, but also, sounds just make sense. So it works out. Speaking of nicknames in minor league baseball, the team you're playing has a nickname that has certainly had its issues over the last few years at the major league level, so much so that it's no longer a nickname at the major league level, and that's the Indians of Indianapolis. They, I'm curious if they will.
I know exactly where you're going with this. It's not that you want to be careful with the words, and I get it. I was just talking with somebody about this the other day. I was like, I wonder if their franchise is considering or getting pressure to or looking at changing from that team nickname. Is that kind of the path that you were going down?
Well, that
like what
and
Cleveland did with the Guardians.
And where would they go if they did have to? Because I'm secretly hoping for clowns.
I don't know where they would go. Well, as you probably know, that used to be the team nickname.
That's what that was my thought. I mean, hey, what better way?
Yeah.
One, it's very minor league, and two, it's your history.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what they'll do. I truthfully don't. I didn't really get any kind of inside info when I asked the question. It was more just like, hey, have you heard anything about this? And I guess part of what the Indianapolis franchise feels as far as a reason why they might not be in a quick rush to change from their current team name is that for them, the Indians, the first 6 letters of that is the starting of the spelling of Indiana and Indianapolis. So their claim, I believe, is that it's a little bit more of a heritage to the city and the state because of literally how you spell that word. I'm just telling you what I was told. I'm not refuting it or defending it, but that's I guess a layer to it for them that it was not for the Cleveland now Guardians. But it would be interesting to know what they would go to if they did ever change it. Given what other teams have done, the Washington football team, and now the Commanders and the Cleveland Guardians, I'd be surprised if 5 years from now they still had the team nickname. That's not with inside info. That's just me. No teams are really doing that anymore. So it's just a harder argument to defend at this point.
Well, they also didn't ever really cartoonify their logo, much like Cleveland did with Chief Wahoo. So I think that's probably a feather in their cap. Dang. That was terrible.
That's a stretch, isn't it, Jeff?
That was
Reaching.
Chris Yao, ladies and gentlemen. That was Chris Yao. You can reach him at this phone number.
That was not on purpose. Oh, but
I hope for your sake not, Chris.
It's a positive.
Chris, if you're looking to change the topic, Chris, we've got pumpkin and fireworks tonight, Chris.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about that?
Yes. As I'm saying it, I'm like, this is not good.
A slow motion car crash right there.
Exactly. It was definitely a train wreck for sure.
So fireworks this weekend, Jeff.
Twice.
Huh? Twice?
Yes. Tonight and Sunday. Yes, tonight and Sunday. We are in Columbus on the 4th. It's the way this year that it was in previous years, where you're either home on the 3rd or on the 4th, so that every minor league team can get the fireworks night and have the big crowd. So for us, it'll be on Sunday night, but tonight being a Friday, and now all the Fridays going forward have fireworks. We've got 2 opportunities for fans in the next 3 days.
For those of you who are interested and love that throwback logo for the Sounds, flash sale, $20 off the throwback jerseys today only on NashvilleSounds.com. So there's that. How about it? No, seriously, Jeff, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and we appreciate your insight on logos and the Nashville Sounds. Anything unique this weekend as far as the roster is concerned? Are we expecting to see anybody unusual, or is it just normal weekend stuff?
Well, it'll be. Yeah, I think for the most part, it should be normal. The Brewers really dodged a bullet the other day with an amazing catch by Jonathan Davis in Tampa Bay, where he crashed into the wall. If folks haven't seen the highlight, they need to look it up. It was an amazing catch, and thankfully he's okay. It doesn't sound like he'll have to go on the injured list for that. So that would have been a roster move needed there. The Brewers did just about an hour ago put Adrian Hauser on their injured list, but they already had Trevor Kelly up there on their taxi squad, and they recalled him as far as the paper move goes. So no effect to the Sounds in that regard. And a big one for the Brewers tomorrow, they'll get Aaron Ashby back. He had some forearm issues, but thankfully nothing severe and a minimum stay on the injured list, and so they're going to get him back. So with the Hauser going down, the rotation spot next week becomes interesting. Does Jason Alexander stay up there since he's been doing so well? They've had him in the bullpen a couple times, but does he go back into the rotation? They've gotten healthier recently with Mike Brasso and Fulton Wong. So the Sounds, for the most part, have had pretty calm waters the last week or so, which is always good for both parties. You always want guys to get big league opportunities, but it's not ideal when it comes due to an injury at the major league level. So the Brewers are in pretty good shape right now, and so we're in pretty good shape down here. Some guys are playing well, and we got Ethan Small on the bump tonight after, you could argue, his best professional outing last weekend when he went 7, gave up 1 run, and struck out 10. So we're hoping that he will repeat that
Pitcher of the week
against Indianapolis.
Was he pitcher of the week last week? Okay.
International League Pitcher of the Week.
Thought so.
Yeah. So hopefully he'll back that up with another good one tonight and kick off the weekend for us. Congrats
to the Spring Hill resident, Ethan Small. Jeff, we appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, Jeff.
You guys have a great holiday weekend.
Same to you.
You too. All right. When we come back, what are we looking forward to, JP? It's going to be a lot of fun, so we'll talk about it on the other side. Stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome in, Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton is on vacation. JP Plant is in the Berg, and we are looking forward to the weekend.
Yes. Holiday weekend. Long 4-day weekend for some.
I was wrong earlier. Well, I inputted incorrectly the Eastern time for the USFL Championship. It's 6:30 on Fox on Sunday. Either way,
that's what
I will certainly be setting my clock to 6:30 on Sunday as the Birmingham Stallions look to upend the Philadelphia Stars. By the way, the Stars have played in every single USFL Championship game. Do you know that?
There's a Trivial Pursuit answer for you.
I almost feel like it was, meant to be. What are you looking forward to this weekend?
I'm looking forward to cooking something on the grill. I don't know what yet, but we've got 3 days of some time maybe to do a little grilling, a little smoking maybe of some meat. Who knows? May go to Home Depot or Bed Bath & Beyond. It's going to be a busy Saturday. I never know.
That's exactly what it's going to be. Yep. I may head out to First Horizon Park this weekend and check that out too. So should be a lot of fun.
Go tonight, get some fireworks?
Probably not tonight, but I'm going to be at First Fridays tonight in Columbia. So
that's right. Yeah.
But Sunday will be a good one. And it'll probably be sold out, so I'll have to get a ticket early. All right, there you go. That's what we're looking ahead to this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this week. And again, we will be off next week, coming back July 11th.
That's right.
Same bat time, same bat channel. For now, we'll tell you how to get to us in the future. Looking forward to it. JP, we don't have Mo here today, so I will tell you.
Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.